Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today, exploring the nature of, well, I am, consciousness. We're turning to Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, this incredible Indian spiritual teacher. We'll be using his book, Consciousness and the Absolute, his final teachings.
Yeah, this book is really something. It's like his last talks,
Yes?
captured in this like question and answer format by his followers. Really intimate, gives you these profound insights
Yeah.
directly from Maharaj.
Yeah, and it all comes back to that question, the one we've all asked. Who am I? But Maharaj doesn't stop there. He pushes us further to look past our name, our body, our thoughts, to find the real essence.
Exactly. He goes deep into this I amness we all feel and how it connects to something way bigger, the absolute. Pure awareness, no limitation.
Okay, so how does this all work? Well, Maharaj, in one of his talks, May 10, 1980, he describes this whole process of how consciousness even starts. Like, it begins in the womb, gets all mixed up with our physical body, and then boom, we're on this lifelong search for who we really are.
Right. And here's the thing. Maharaj isn't saying the body's bad or anything. It's important, for living in the world. He uses this analogy. Think of it like a uniform. You need it to play your part, but it's not actually you.
I like that. And he builds on this idea later on, December 25th that year, talking about the food body, made up of the 5 elements. And because we need food, well, we're stuck in this illusion, thinking we're just this one individual, separate from everything.
And then he goes on to explain Chittakash. This is on June 14th, 1981. It's the space where consciousness hangs out, where the I am pops up. It's like the sky, right? And I am is like a cloud just passing through.
So we're not the cloud, we're the sky. He used another great metaphor, June 21st. Imagine watching a play.
Yeah.
You're the consciousness, taking it all in. You're not the actors or the characters. You're the one watching.
He's saying we're not just the roles we play in life. Getting to the absolute. For Maharaj, it's not about, reaching some big state of being. It's about letting go of those limitations we think define us.
He's super clear about this. June 22nd, that same year, morning and evening talks. He says, straight up, freedom from suffering. That comes from realizing, hey, we're at our limitations.
And this is where Maharaj, he kind of breaks away from the traditional spiritual path. June 28th, 1981. He totally rejects this idea that just gathering knowledge equals liberation. He's all about, direct experience, cutting through the mental noise and getting to the truth yourself firsthand.
He even talks about his own experience, this big change in identity, November 21st, 1980. He describes it as like his individual self just dissolving, poof, like flipping a switch.
Right, and this led him to Turiya. It's this state of pure consciousness, beyond waking, dreaming, even deep sleep. It's beyond even the I am. It's realizing that boundless awareness we truly are. He talks about this on June 7th, 1981.
I've always appreciated how direct Maharaj is, no sugarcoating. On May 10, 1980, he tells someone point blank, you are that which is prior to the appearance of the I am. Well,
It's huge, right? That's the thing. He keeps saying the true self, it's always there. Imagine the sun always shining, even behind the clouds. Realization is just like those clouds disappearing. January 8th, 1981, he uses that analogy.
direct, but he could be funny too. April 6, 1981, he tells this story. People licking their own feet instead of going to gurus.
It's hilarious, but it makes a point. We're always looking for answers outside ourselves when the truth is already inside.
We make things so complicated, don't we? Like having the answer key, but still scrambling to find the answers to a test.
Exactly. And that I amness, that basic sense of being, we all experience it. But, and he says this November 8th, 1980, it's not the end. It's like a stepping stone to realizing the absolute.
So if we're not this I amness, then what are we? This is getting kind of paradoxical, isn't it?
It's not about becoming something else. It's about, realizing what you already are. That which comes before the I amness even appears. He's so clear about this on May 10th, 1980. Really remarkable.
It can just hit you too, can't it? That realization, like Maharaj's experience, it's not always years of practice. Sometimes, boom, perspective shifts.
Yeah.
The illusion drops.
Think of it like you've always worn these colored glasses. Suddenly they're gone. You see the world as it truly is. Same world, different perception.
Perfect analogy. Like that Zen saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Same actions, different experience.
Yeah. It's not about changing what you do, but how you see and experience things.
Like Maharaj's play metaphor. We're the consciousness, watching it all unfold. But we get so caught up in the roles, the story, we forget we're just the audience.
Right. Realizing the absolute. It's not about gaining something new. It's about, letting go of those limitations we cling to.
He really hammers that point home. June 22nd, 1981, both morning and evening, really struck a chord with me.
It's about moving from seeking to simply being, from struggling to achieve something to like realizing it's already there.
This leads to a really interesting question, though. If everything, like even this conversation we're having, is all manifestation of consciousness, then who's actually listening?
Maharaj would love that question. It really makes you step outside the usual way of thinking. Subject, object, observer, observed. It's pure awareness.
And this awareness, for Maharaj, is ultimately the absolute. It's the foundation of everything, not limited by who we think we are or the roles we play.
The source of everything and where everything goes back to. It's something we can actually experience right now, right here, no matter what.
It's not some fancy, distant concept. You don't have to, climb a mountain or meditate in a cave. In fact, sometimes it's our seeking, our striving, that blocks us from realizing it.
Right. The true self is always there, like that sun behind the clouds. Realization is just those clouds moving away.
And he talks about suffering, too. June 21st evening session. He says suffering doesn't come from consciousness itself. It comes from clinging to our limited I amness. That's deep, really gets to the root of it.
It's the clinging, yeah, to our thoughts, emotions, experiences. That's what creates suffering. Let go of that attachment. Realize our true nature, this boundless consciousness. Suffering just disappears.
And this is where Maharaj's approach to, spiritual growth, it gets really radical. He throws out the whole idea that we reach liberation by piling up knowledge. He wants direct experience.
He's very clear about this on June 28th, 1981. Liberation comes from experience, not just intellectual understanding. It's different from many traditional paths. All that focus on scriptures and rituals.
So instead of learning about the absolute, we should be being the absolute.
It's more like realizing you already are the absolute. Not becoming something new, but recognizing what's already true.
That's where self-inquiry comes in, right?
Exactly. He always brings his followers back to that basic question, who am I? But he doesn't want a conceptual answer. He wants them to dive into the experience of being, to encounter that awareness that comes before thought, before form.
So not the right answer, the right question.
You got it. And that question, who am I? It can really open you up. It can make you realize, you're not just these thoughts, feelings, experiences. You're the consciousness witnessing it all, that awareness that's everywhere. You are essentially the absolute.
Wow. To go from that limited sense of self to realizing we're this massive interconnected consciousness, it's mind-blowing.
And it can happen like that too. Remember how Maharaj describes his own experience? The ego just dissolved, like a switch.
But even after that, life goes on, right? We still have to deal with the world, the challenges, the ups and downs.
Oh, absolutely. Maharaj isn't offering some escape from reality. He's showing a way to experience life with more freedom, more clarity, whatever your circumstances.
So we change how we relate to our experiences, not the experiences themselves.
Exactly. And that's where his teaching style really stands out. The humor, the wit, sometimes even being blunt to shake us up. He challenges how we think about ourselves, about the world.
That story about licking feet instead of finding a guru. It's so funny, but really makes you think.
Yeah, it shows how we complicate things, going on these huge quests for answers when the truth is right there.
Like having the answer key, but still frantically searching for the test answers.
He keeps reminding us that the answers are often right in front of us. We just have to look inside. He's clear that real understanding doesn't come from just reading books or listening to lectures. It comes from directly experiencing truth.
He really makes that distinction, doesn't he? It's not about intellectualizing our way to enlightenment.
Exactly. He says that head knowledge alone isn't enough. True liberation comes from directly experiencing truth, from encountering that pure awareness that's at the root of everything we experience.
So how do we cultivate that direct experience? How do we quiet all the mental chatter and access that deeper awareness he talks about?
Self-inquiry. That's one of the most powerful tools Maharaj gives us. He says to keep asking, who am I? But not to come up with some clever answer. He wants us to explore the question itself, to dive into the experience of being.
So it's about turning our attention inward and really examining the nature of our being.
Right. And as we go through that process of self-inquiry, we might discover that we're not just our thoughts, our emotions, our sensations. We're the awareness that's witnessing all of it, the consciousness that permeates everything.
We're the silent observer, the space in which all of these experiences arise and dissolve.
Exactly. And Maharaj says that by cultivating that awareness, we can start to untangle ourselves from the limitations of our ego, and we start to experience real freedom and interconnectedness.
This brings us back to that metaphor of the play. We're not the actors caught up in the drama. We're the audience watching the whole show.
And that true self, that pure awareness, it's not bound by those characters we play in life. It transcends all roles and identities. It's the unchanging source of everything, where everything begins and ends.
So as we keep exploring Maharaj's teachings, we have to remember it's not just about understanding these ideas intellectually, it's about applying them, about cultivating that direct experience of our true nature.
It's about remembering that the answers we're looking for might be closer than we think. They're not just in books or in what other people tell us. They're in the depths of our own being.
It's about turning inward and discovering that the truth we've been searching for has been right here all along. It's a big shift, isn't it? To see ourselves not as like these separate people, but as part of this huge connected consciousness.
Right. Maharaj is saying that real self, it's not limited by our ego or, personality. He's pointing to a much deeper identity, an awareness that includes everything.
So if we're not limited to this I amness, how do we actually make that shift happen? How do we move from that small sense of self to this bigger awareness?
Well, he says it's not about adding something new, right? Not more knowledge, not reaching some special state. It's about letting go of all that stuff that keeps us separate from who we really are. The conditioning, the beliefs, all of it.
It's like peeling an onion. You shed those layers, the false ideas, those limits we put on ourselves. And underneath, there's the real you.
Exactly. And as you peel those layers back, you start to see the truth was there the whole time. It's not about creating something new. It's about uncovering what's already there. Remember that analogy at the sun behind the clouds? Realization is just like those clouds clearing away. The light shines through.
Beautiful analogy. It shows that this isn't about struggling or achieving something outside of us. It's about recognizing an inner truth.
And he says this isn't just for a special few. It's for everyone, no matter your background or beliefs.
But it's tough, isn't it? Our minds, they're always busy, creating stories, clinging to identities. How do we get past all that noise and connect with this deeper awareness?
That's where self-inquiry comes in. That's what he keeps telling his followers to do. Go back to that kind of question, who am I? But he doesn't want some, intellectual answer. He wants you to dive into the experience of being, to connect with the awareness that's there before thought, before form.
So it's not about finding the right answer. It's about asking the right questions.
Exactly. And that question, who am I? It can really change things. It can help you realize, hey, I'm not just this bunch of thoughts and feelings and stuff. I'm the consciousness that sees it all, the awareness that's in everything. I am essentially the absolute.
That's a huge change in perspective, to go from this limited self to seeing ourselves as this vast, connected consciousness.
And Maharaj, he says it can happen instantly, like he experienced. The individual identity just dissolves, boom, like flipping a switch.
But life goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Even after that. We still have to deal with the world, with all the ups and downs.
No, absolutely. Maharaj isn't saying you'll escape reality. It's about experiencing life with more freedom, more clarity, no matter what's happening.
So it's about changing how we relate to our experiences, not trying to change the experiences themselves.
Exactly. And that's where his style of teaching, it's so unique. He uses humor, he's witty, sometimes he's even blunt, just to shake us up. He challenges how we think about ourselves, about the world.
Like that story about people licking their own feet instead of going to a guru. So funny, but it really makes you think.
It shows how we make things so complicated. We go on these big quests for answers when the truth is right there.
We're running around looking for our glasses when they're on our head the whole time. We're searching for something that's already present.
That's it. And Maharaj keeps saying the answers are often right in front of us. We just need to learn to look inside. Real understanding doesn't come from just stuffing your head with information. It comes from experiencing the truth directly.
He's really clear about that. It's not about, becoming an expert on enlightenment.
Absolutely. Head knowledge is not enough. True liberation comes from experiencing it yourself, from encountering that pure awareness that's at the heart of every experience.
Now, how do we cultivate that kind of experience? How do we quiet all that mental chatter and access the deeper awareness Maharaj is talking about?
One of the most powerful tools he gives us is self-inquiry. He says, keep asking that question, who am I? But not to come up with some intellectual answer. He wants you to explore the question deeply, to dive into the experience of being itself.
It's about turning our attention inward and really examining the nature of our own being.
Exactly. And as you go through that process, you might realize you're not just your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations. You're the awareness that's witnessing all of it, the consciousness that's in everything.
We're the silent observer, the space in which all these experiences happen.
That's it. And Maharaj says, by cultivating that awareness, we can start to free ourselves from the limitations of our ego. And we start to experience real freedom and connection with everything.
This goes back to that play metaphor, right? We're not the actors on stage all caught up in the drama. We're the audience watching the whole show.
And that true self, that pure awareness, it's not bound by the roles we play in life. It's beyond all those labels and identities. It's that unchanging essence, the source of everything, where everything begins and ends.
So as we keep exploring Maharaj's teachings, we have to remember this isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's about putting these ideas into practice, about cultivating that direct experience of our true nature.
It's about remembering the answers we're looking for. They might be closer than we think. They're not always in books or in what other people tell us. They're within us.
It's about turning our attention inward and realizing the truth we've been searching for has been here the whole time.
Yeah, it's easy to forget, isn't it? You get so caught up in the world, Achievements, validation, all that. We forget to just look inside. But that's what Maharaj keeps reminding us. That real journey, it's an inward one.
Yeah, he's always saying, turn your attention away from all the distractions out there and go deep into the mystery of your own being.
It's like we're explorers, but of our own inner world. Discovering those hidden parts, finding the truth right at the core of who we are.
That's it. And he gives us these tools for that exploration, like self-inquiry, question your assumptions, really explore the nature of your being deeply. He's not just saying, take my word for it, right? He actually wants us to question everything, even the most basic things we believe about ourselves, about the world.
Absolutely. He wants you to really work with his teachings. Test them out, see if they hold up in your own life. Then you come to your own understanding of the truth.
He's not giving us a dogma. It's not about rigid beliefs. He's showing us a path to self-discovery.
And it takes courage to question everything you think you know, to be open to the possibility that you might be so much more than you think you are.
Maharaj's own life, it shows the power of that approach, doesn't it? I mean, he was a shopkeeper, and then he has this incredible awakening. Changes everything for him.
Yeah.
His understanding of himself, the world, everything.
Yeah, his life is like this powerful example, direct experience, combined with real questioning. That can lead to a huge shift in consciousness.
And he's clear, this isn't some impossible goal. It's not just for a select few. It's available to everyone. Right now, you don't have to become a monk or anything.
He actually says, sometimes the things that block us are our own seeking and striving. We get all these ideas about what enlightenment's supposed to be, and we get trapped trying to achieve some perfect state.
We're running around looking for our glasses when they're on our head the whole time.
That's it. It's already here. Like Maharaj says, the self, it's always there, like the sun, shining behind the clouds, realization. That's just the clouds clearing away.
It's realizing that we're not separate from that source, from that awareness that's everywhere, connecting everything.
And when you start to really get that, live it, the whole world changes. It's not like problems disappear, but you see them differently.
It's not about changing what happens to us. It's about how we relate to it.
Right. And remember how Maharaj talks about suffering. It's not the experience itself that causes suffering. It's our clinging to that limited sense of self. Let go of that, see your true nature, this boundless consciousness, suffering just fades away.
Yeah, so if we could take just one thing away from this deep dive, what would it be? What's the most important message?
I'd say the truth we're all looking for. It's not out there somewhere. You don't have to get it, achieve it. It's already inside you, waiting to be discovered.
It's about looking inward and realizing we're not who we think we are. We're so much bigger, so much more expansive than we can even imagine.
And as you go on that journey of self-discovery, you might find the answers to those big questions, the ones we all ask. They've been with you the whole time. Not in a book, not in someone else's words, in the depths of your own being.
That's a great place to leave it, I think. So as you go about your day today, remember Maharaj's words and ask yourself, who am I? What is this awareness that's experiencing everything, this moment, this world, this whole existence?
Let that question be your guide. On your own path to self-discovery, the answers might be closer than you think.